All right, guys, here we are. Another episode of The Artistry of. Now, the main thing I want to talk about today is, man, I had an awesome title, right? A title for this episode. So while I was working, I think I was either listening to the TAO podcast or Joe Rogan. I'm not really sure which one I was listening to, but it triggered the perfect name, the perfect title for this episode, and I forgot it. And it had something to do with like wolves. Man, I mean, it was so fresh. But before I get into the episode, I know I just said, look, what we're going to be talking about today. But before I get into all of that, because I don't have a sponsor right now, and I guess I'll just save like the website for the end. I might not even say the website. It's nothing new. It's what I've been talking about, the teching. But like, I'm not going to send people there just yet, even though, I mean, in the previous episodes, I mean, you can hear it's nothing like it. It's a secret. But I'm just not, I'm not going to do it. So instead of talking about a sponsor, I just want to thank everyone for just the positive energy and the positive responses I got from the Arrival episode. Let me make sure that was the name of it. That's when I came back. So I want to say it's Arrival. Right. So I just want to thank everybody for the positive energy, because it really resonated with everybody. It really resonated, really struck a chord. A lot of you guys were feeling my pain. A lot of you guys maybe felt like that before and just didn't voice it, but you voiced it to me privately and just encouraging me like, yo, it's okay. I felt like that as well. So it's just really good that we got a chance to connect. Now, one of the things that practicing is not saying you know and not saying so as much. But at the same time, because I've been listening to this book on the history of speech and the history of language, and it's a really dope book. It's on Audible. I highly it's on Audible, and it's like one of their great courses. It's a really good one. So it's The Story of Human Language. A really good listen. It's 11 hours, and it looked like I'm maybe a third of the way through. So your boy knocked out about 3.5 hours on this Jimmy, or 3 hours and 20 minutes about. That's what I'm guessing. It's really good. I'm also listening to How the Earth Works, and it's so from listening to that, it kind of gave me the appreciation for repeating certain phrases, and for those phrases being common. Like, it's just a part of speech. It's a part of natural speech patterns. That is natural speech patterns. So if a person is using that in their natural speech, that's fine. That's fine. If I'm writing, like if I was writing this down, I wouldn't keep writing like or so or I wouldn't keep writing that. So from listening to it, it gave me appreciation for my own speech patterns and my own speech things, I guess. There's another word, but hey, we just running with things. So look, I'm going to be using I'm going to be using I'm going to be using like, and it's okay. And if you use that in your speech, when you're talking, maybe you get on a podcast, maybe you're streaming, maybe you're doing whatever, and you're using these go-to phrases constantly, it's okay. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. I think we have a tendency to beat ourselves up a lot over missed opportunities and things that we didn't do or things that we didn't say. And we're super critical on ourselves. And I think a part of that is good. It's good to be tough on yourself, but at the point where you no longer like yourself, you no longer want to be with yourself, then that's a problem. That's a problem. You're only human. We're only human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to keep saying the same thing, or we're going to keep talking about the same thing. It's fine. It's fine. Like, you're not writing in some journal. You're trying to get published. And if you are, you can fix it. Just go to it. Just reread it each time you put like or and or so. Just take it out. Take it out. Right? So yeah, that's that. You got to love yourself. You got to love your speech, and you just got to talk. And you can't really worry, oh man, I'm saying so too much. I'm saying like too much. I'm saying too much.
Let me introduce you to Bo Miles, a unique and likable guy. Everyday life, friends and family makes up the honest dream.
So what? So, So I'm just glad that I came across that, and I'm definitely going to finish it. It's a powerful book. It's a powerful study, and it's very entertaining. And I highly recommend you guys check it out. But that's not what we're really going to be talking about. Like I said, the title has something to do with wolves. I don't know if I'm going to change it to like Wolf's Den. I mean, it was something fresh. Like whatever it was fresh. And that's going to be the title. It's going to be something around wolves. And by the time I finish it and upload it and then type in all of the credentials, I'm going to have whatever the name will be. Right. But at the same time, it might not even be called anything wolf. Right. Just from me trying to figure it out and trying to study, and not even study, but what I'll do. All right. I was like, man, did I not change the batteries? But just by me going through this journey, talking with you guys, or I guess talking to you guys, by the end of it, once I sit down and type whatever, it will come to me. And if that original idea doesn't come back to me, then I'll just have to go with something new. Right. So the whole point is, there are wolves as well. Who are the wolves? And it's girls. Like every situation, everything that we find ourselves in is not just black and white. Oh, this is, and it mainly has to do with victimizing. And I just have a huge problem with it. Right. And I think like when we looked at, the Mike Brown incident, right? So this was years ago, you get Mike Brown. He gets killed by an officer. It was there was an uprising that was trying to happen, that was trying to start, but it got quelled. Now I'm trying to update my phone as well, trying to import these contacts because my original phone, the microphone died. The microphone died, so if you try to call somebody, you can't talk. They can't hear you. I'm yawning. And you can't select speakerphone. So I went online, checked it out. Look, what's going on? Come to find out, it's the microphone. Now, this is in the iPhone 7. The iPhone 7 or the iPhone 8. I'm not really sure. I think this is the 7 because it actually tells you which model it is. So this is the iPhone 7. If I go to about, the iPhone 7. Microphone is messed up. I check it out. I go looking it up, and it tells me, hey, this is a common problem. This is some standard stuff that happens all the time on the iPhone. So I'm like, man, that's just crap. I was going to go get a new one, but it's like, look, man, I really don't want to spend that kind of money. I just don't. I don't want to keep buying a new phone, keep buying a new iPhone for what? Right? And I get it. You just gotta keep up. You have to stay in the school, right? Meaning if you are, I'm changing the temperature here, and let's change the temperature there to about right there. So this way I'm not burning up in here. So you gotta stay in a lake, stay with the crowd because it moves you. So it's like, oh man, I'm really not trying to keep up with that stuff. But what happens is then you get left behind. It's some feature, it's something new, it's something that everybody is being a part of that's growing collectively. And if you choose and if you opt out of it, then you're stepping away. And piece by piece, step by step, you start to distance yourself from the herd. And you're distancing yourself from advancement because that's the direction. People are going forward. They're learning and getting used to new technologies and new things. And each time you step away, you're stepping back. So a part of me is like, look, you got to go ahead and get you a new one. But I got my daughter's birthday coming up. Who knows? I'm sure she's going to want something, right? So I got to take that into consideration. I have so many other things to pay for. A marketing campaign that I'm getting ready for. I gotta take that into consideration. So it's like, okay, so what can be put on the back burner? And it's this phone. So I switch over, but my contacts are not synced. I don't have everybody in on my newer, it's not a new phone, but it's the phone that I gave my mom. So I had her using the iPhone 6. It has the headphone jack, which I really miss. I really miss the headphone jack. So now that I'm using the iPhone 6 and I got that headphone jack, like, look, I'm back in business. Okay, I got the old school headset. I can charge and I can talk. Head on the headset, I'm feeling good, but all my contacts haven't synced. So I'm going online, checking that all out, and it's like, man, right? So eventually, I finally get that figured out. And what I figure out is that I have to connect my phone that has all the contacts that I want, connect that to the computer. After I connect it to the computer, then I can download the contacts, and then after I download the contacts, then I can plug in the new phone, the iPhone 6, and put those contacts onto the iPhone 6. So that's the process. So I'm doing all of that right now as I'm talking to you guys, and It's updating the newer phone, the iPhone 7 is updating to OS 13.6. And the iPhone 6 is stuck at 12.5 or something like 12 something. You can't go beyond that, right? So you're cut off. There's some new features, there's some new this, some new that. You can't get that in the iPhone 6. So eventually I'm going to get a new phone, but like I said, I just really like the headphone jack. Now I have some wireless earbuds, but one of them is not charging. The other one, maybe something's jacked up with that. So it's like, man, I mean, it's just a hustle. They just get you buying this stuff, and I don't know how long it lasted. I want to say it could have lasted a while. I don't know how long I had it. Maybe 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I believe. It could be 3. I'm not sure if I had them while I was teaching. I probably did. have them while I was teaching. So 2 to 3 years, and you figure what, $200, so $200 every 2 to 3 years. It's like, man, it's you can put that money somewhere else, but then it's like, look, man, you might as well waste that money. So who knows what we'll do, what we'll figure out, but the show must go on, right? So back to Mike Brown. I was about to say John Brown. I knew a John Brown. He was a good kid, and he's a fine young man now. But Mike Brown, there's a slight uproar about his murder, but then we find out that he was reaching for the gun, right? I mean, that's what they were saying, that he was just a thug and pretty much he deserved to die. I mean, that was really the narrative that they were painting, right? Now, right, we're talking about wolves, so we're saying that public opinion and just the whole Black Lives Matter movement said that Mike Brown, he couldn't represent Black Lives Matter because he was fighting a cop. Then we get George, and for some reason I'm thinking like all the people that I know. So I'm thinking of George Hunt, which is a teacher in West Virginia, but George Floyd is his name. So George Floyd, let me make sure, just because, yeah, it's George Floyd. Because I remember people were jacking his name up and, like, whatever. Either the first or the last name was wrong. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to jack his name up because he's important. But the number one thing, the most important thing about him is that in this whole video, like, you really don't see when they take him down. I didn't. And if there is a video where you actually see the whole thing, I don't want to see it. Right? Not because of a credibility issue. It's sad. It's sad. It really is sad. But one of the things, the key things in his video and with his case is that he wasn't being a threat, right? Like, he wasn't being a threat. He was being compliant. He was just saying, yo, I can't breathe. And the guy just put the pressure on his neck for 8 minutes plus 8 minutes plus some seconds. So we can just say 9 minutes, 10. We can just go and round it off to 10 minutes, right? If this was a flash drive, we would have rounded it off to 16. If this was a flash drive, this would be 16 megabytes. You're only getting 8 megabytes, 8 plus, but we're just going to round it off, say 16, right? So we can just round it off and say 16 minutes. and that's awful, right? But his story, his backstory, and the narrative, it didn't change to Floyd was trying. He was just being aggressive. He was being wild. He was on PCP, right? So in this instant, Floyd is not. He really didn't deserve this, and no one deserves to be murdered, right? We're not saying that. I'm not saying that somebody deserves to be murdered, but in the case of Mike Brown, it's like, yo, I mean, he was reaching for the gun, or he roughhousing. He went in there, he a thug, and that was the narrative. I'm not saying that he was a thug, because I'm sure some of the people who are listening, maybe that was your cousin, right? And that was your favorite cousin, right? Mike Brown was your favorite cousin. So I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to tarnish who he was as a person. So that's the big homie Spiro saying he had another tournament. So that's good. Let's go ahead and we'll say that's what's up. So big ups to the big homie. And we'll definitely check that out. We'll check that out later, right? So I'm not trying to defame or say that your favorite cousin deserved that, right? So that's not what I'm trying to say at all. He didn't deserve that. Like that was wrong. And his life mattered as well, but just in the public opinion, we couldn't really use his story to push the narrative of peace. So it didn't take off like the George Floyd one, right? And we're talking about wolves, so. Now I have to talk about the Floyds in the female perspective, right? The women, Georgina Floyd, right? I gotta speak on them first, so that we can get to the Micah Browns, right? And my whole point is that, like, every situation is not, we need to go and save her, right? She don't want to be saved. Now, I'm going to be speaking about real stories of like sexual abuse, right? Real stories that were told to me. I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to say any relationships. I'm not going to put a time on when I heard these stories. Like, I'm just going to give you the raw story as it was given to me. And that's how it's going to be. Now, this may trigger some people. So at this point, you probably want to go ahead and check out. Right. This might trigger some people because a lot of these stories, like, these are prevalent. We're talking about Baltimore. We're talking about New York. We're talking about New Jersey. We're talking about Florida, right? So DC. So now you're talking about these areas. It's safe to say that these areas transcend throughout the whole country. Right? I mean, these areas that we talking about, this is America. This is not bound by color, not bound by social status, right? These stories come from a multitude of people, and the whole idea that I want to establish the victim, right? For us to get a real clear cut on the victim before I start talking about the wolves and why I feel like there's a difference, because there is. I mean, we're out here acting like everybody is a victim, like everybody is Little Red Riding Hood. And it's like, nah, some people are the big bad wolf, right? And so with that in mind, like, look, I can't treat you like you Little Red Riding Hood. I just can't. Like, come on. It just doesn't even make sense. I'm going to treat you like you Little Red Riding Hood and you clearly the wolf. Like, nah. That might even be the title. Little Red Riding Hood. I don't know. That could have been a title in a previous episode. I'm not sure. But you know, I just wanted to kind of put that out there before I got started, because I know that this is going to be tough for some people. Like, I know it is. And I'll talk about some males that got hit with that abuse, that sexual abuse, and the stories as I heard them, right? So one thing that you're going to find is they're not going to be as detailed. Like with the girls, you know, these are girls confiding in me and telling me their story. And when the guys do it, like, the girls are really detailed, right? The guys, not so much, because I think that it's just more embarrassing, right? It's really embarrassing, especially when you guys hear who did the abuse. So I think just when you get those, when it's what the actual act and who was doing it, like, it's just too embarrassing to where, you know, your homie just not going to go into deep detail. And you figure, like, a lot of these stories I heard when I was young. So I think a lot of the guys are not even mature enough to be okay with really expressing what happened to them, right? So that's the alert, because, like I said, I know some of you guys are going to get triggered, mainly the girls, I think, but, you know, it could be some guys. You just never know. So I wanted to put that out there before I jumped in, and ultimately, just the direction that we land in, we might lose. We canceled your order. What order? I don't remember ordering anything. So we might even lose some listeners. I might even lose a listener, right? I only have like 6. So your order 56. AT&T. So this is probably a scam. So yeah, I just want to put that out there before I even got started. So here we go. We're about to get in, and I'm not even going to go in order, which I think I will. Well, I'm just relay the stories as I remember them, but I'm not really sure about the order, like which one I heard first, or I don't know. All right, so here we go. So this first one, this is from a guy, and this is the guy telling me in this story, like, I can preface this by saying that I was, at the time when I heard it, right now, I'm ashamed of how I reacted. And at the same time, like, I'm still ashamed, but at the same time, this was my homeboy, and we was just shooting the shit, right? So he's just telling me, like, look, this is teenagers talking, telling stories, and so he wanted to tell me this story, right? And I'm not sure what we were talking about before, before he told me this, but for whatever reason, you know, like, yo, we homies, and he's gonna tell me the story. So I'm gonna tell you guys the story, right? All right. So he's like, yo, this was back when he was probably, I don't know, 10. I mean, well, I didn't order anything. So that is weird. So he was probably like, he's probably like 10. I'll check it later. I'm not going to worry about it. He was like, yeah, I think he said he was like 10 or 11, right? So he's out, he's playing, and I guess it was a girl in the neighborhood, and so he had her come to his house, right? I'm just trying to remember the story, right? So they're playing, and he took her down in the basement, and the girl was like, you know, let me go back up, or it's pretty much just saying, like, yo, I don't want to be down here. Now, she at the time, or for what he was saying, I think he was saying that she was young. So maybe she was like younger than him. So if he's 10, 11, she's maybe 9 or 6 or something like that. Right. And she was like, you know, I want to go back upstairs, or he was like, he wasn't letting her go upstairs. And then he, and I'm not going to really go into like the I'm not going to use some of the language just because, like, yo, it's just not cool. So she wanted to go upstairs, and he didn't let her, right? And he ultimately sexually assaulted her. Now, just thinking of an 11-year-old, a 10 or 11-year-old is really not too much they can do, but at the same time, now we're talking about what was he exposed to, right? And I didn't even follow up with any of these questions, right? Like I said, I'm a teenager, and I'm listening to this story, and I'm really just laughing. Man, he's laughing as he's telling me this story, right? So he's laughing, and I'm laughing, and that's like, as I'm looking back on, like, that's what I'm ashamed of. I'm ashamed of my response. I'm ashamed of my response to, and just how I was acting. But at the same time, like I said, he was a good friend of mine, and, you know, I just, look, this is what people do. Okay, they tell real messed up stories. This isn't the worst story that I've heard from a guy, right? Like I said, it was lawless in Baltimore. You growing up, it's like Portland with no attention. And it's still going on like that to this day, despite the riots, despite the slogans, despite the hashtag. Like, yo, it's just crazy. So, because I was in that state, I was just numb. I was just numb to people and just their emotions. And it's just, it's crazy. Like, I remember watching some beheadings and stuff like that, like back when, let's see, right now I'm thinking of Antifa, but Al-Qaeda, right? Al-Qaeda, what is it called? Al-Qaeda? Yeah, I think it's Al-Qaeda. Yeah, I feel like I'm merging both things together, but there was two groups, right? Al-Qaeda and something else. I just can't remember the other group. It's like that, I guess, when you don't speak about a group. Al-Qaeda. Is it Al-Qaeda? Maybe Al-Qaeda is how you pronounce it. But there's another group that came after Al-Qaeda. I just can't think. And I'm sure one of you guys are saying it right now. Like, it's blah, blah, blah. But I just can't think of it. I see a Q in there. Man. But so it's during that time. And they got it from watching there was like Mexican cartel videos. So like I remember watching those Mexican cartel videos, and so they were like killing people with knives. They'll hack your head off with a knife. One guy, they was doing like a chainsaw. And so this was after I left. This is once I got to college. So I left Baltimore and I started to become more sensitized to life, right? Now I was desensitized as a kid, and just growing up as a kid, you become desensitized, and you get into a state where you feel like, yo, people die every day, B. Like, yo, and what? Like, you get into that state. So what? Right? So what? People die. And what? And so you get into that state. And what happens is you eventually, like once you leave the environment, because while you're in the environment, that's the state that you're in. People die. So what? That's just, I'll die. I'll die before I won't even make it to be 25. This is what I was thinking. I'm almost 40 now, right? I'll be 40 in maybe a couple weeks. But I didn't think I was gonna live past 26 or 25, right? I just figured I would be murdered. I mean, that's just crazy. Like, that is so crazy. And you guys already know, like, I was even thinking about checking out at a point. So life, like when you're around deaths that much, life takes on a new feeling. It's a new atmosphere. It's crazy, right? And watching these murders, right? Because they had them on websites, and I'm sure if you guys look it up, if you look and search hard enough, you'll be able to find whatever the news site is. This is back when I was in school, so I'm sure that site is still kicking. I'm sure it's still kicking. But at the same time, there's really no need to even worry about saying the name of the site. I just feel like it's no real point. There's no point to say the name. Let's see. We'll leave it there. So, so it's like, all right. You just desensitized, right? So he's telling me this story, and it's like I'm just desensitized. I'm in the city. I've been living in the city, and I just don't care, right? So you look at that story. Like I said, now looking back now, like I'm ashamed, but at the same time, if I was to hear that story now, I don't know if I would be like, yo, man, you sick. You're a sicko. What are you doing? Right? I would be like, damn, dog, what happened to you? Right? Like, that's the way I would handle it now. So I wouldn't call him a sicko and be like, yo, man, you just an evil person. Like you're gonna burn in hell. No, I would just be like, damn, dog, like, yo, what happened to you, man? Like, yo, just a kid shouldn't be thinking like that. Like yo, you 9 or 10, you just shouldn't be thinking about like sexual assault, dog. Like, yo, you just shouldn't. Like, yo, every kid don't think about that. Yo, you should be thinking about like Batman or the new cartoon characters, or and we talking about back in the 80s. I don't know what these kids these days, like, yo, if you 10 now, you're not thinking about you're not thinking about Batman the animated series. You're not thinking about that because that type of stuff is not on. Right? So that's what I would. So if I had to do it over again, that's what I would do, is be like, yo, what happened to you, man? Like, you just shouldn't be on that. You shouldn't even be exposed and be thinking about that. You should be thinking about some other stuff, man. So that's how I would handle it if I could do it all over again, right? But that's not how I handle it. I just handled it with laughing and joking about it, and just really not taking it serious, right? So we'll start there, from a male's perspective. Right now, like I said, I mean, he definitely got a little bit more graphic than what I did, but I'm not going to get that graphic, right? And with this one, but yeah, he definitely assaulted her, right? So that's not cool. The next one is from a girl, right? Now she met this guy, and so I hollered at her, right? Got put it in context. I hollered at her. I want to say I met her on a train or whatever, saw her downtown. Your boy was looking good. And I'm like, I saw she was eyeing me. So I'm like, yo, let me get the number. I'm not really sure how I hollered at her, but you just never know, because I really don't remember saying like, yo, let me get the number to any girl. But I'm sure there was, maybe, I guess that's just how you had to do it. I'm not really sure. I was more like, from what I can just really remember and recall, most girls were aggressive with me. They would kind of initiate and then maybe ask me for my number. I'm not really sure, but I want to say that, for the most part, girls were more aggressive. Girls were more aggressive with me. So the only thing now I'm trying to do is position this where I can talk and look at the levels to make sure that it's not peaking or going above, right? So this girl, I get her number, right? Or she gets mine. I'm sure I got her number. And, call her up. We talking. And one thing about me I can say is, people in which you guys, I'm thinking that you'll be able to tell this, just because, for a girl to tell you these type of stories, I just feel like maybe, they gotta trust you a little bit. Right? Maybe they're not telling everybody these stories. And I even had a girl say, man, I told you that. So I don't know. I don't know if girls just get into a state of when they just feel like, yo, I'm just going to release this. Maybe they're in a drunk state. And then after it's over, they I can't believe I told you that. But I had a girl say that to me, and we'll get to that one as well. So I'm talking to this girl. I'm like, yo, why don't you come over? Right now, I'm thinking yo, I'm trying to get in them guts. Right. I'm a teenager. Look, this is how it rolls. And at the time, I want to say I was living with Dennis and his mom, because she and I want to say that because usually when I tell back in the day when I was saying, I was like, yo, me and my dog, we got a condo. But it wasn't just me and my dog. It was I was living with them meaning Dennis and his mom. I'm living with Dennis and his mom, and I got my own room. So look, I felt good, but I was telling people that I was just living. Look, I got a roommate. That's what I would tell girls or whatever. Look, I got a roommate. So I'm talking to this girl. Eventually, yo, why don't you come over? Because I want to say She had some beautiful lips. She had a nice rack. And, yeah, I know that's very disrespectful. Hey, look. We gotta go there, okay? I gotta be me. Cause I got my own ding. Man, on the mommy. They ain't a changing me. I can only be me. So, look, she was definitely delicious, right? Looking, I didn't get a chance to taste her, so I don't know. But so I'm like, yo, why don't you come over? And then she was like, nah. And, I'm like, nah, because I mean, you're naive. You're really not thinking, like, if you're not a rapist, like, you're really not thinking about rape. Okay. Now, as a teenager, I really was not thinking about rape. I wasn't thinking that people were getting raped. I wasn't thinking, like, look, my homie who told me that, I'm sure he told me that story after or during the time, you know, of this story. And I still wasn't thinking about it, right? So, like, my mind just wasn't on that. So she was like, nah, because whatever, like, you know, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, yo, all right, I mean, you know, we make out and okay. And if you, however far you want to go, that's all right. That's cool with me. Right. But I'm at least going to try. Right. So we making out like, yo, I mean, okay. I might get all the way home on this one. She's like, nah. I'm like, I mean, it's no biggie. Like, yo, nothing's gonna happen. My homie, his mom is here. Right? Like, yo, nothing's gonna happen. My homie's mom is here. She was like, and that's when then she tells me the story, right? She was like, yo, she was talking to this guy. And she went over to his house and his grandmother was there. So his grandmother's there and I guess he's making out with her and that's as far as she wanted to go. But he wanted more. Right. So he forces himself on her and, you know, he rapes her while the grandmother is in the house. And I want to say that she you know was loud enough and like expressing her no-ness enough that the grandmother heard her. Right? But the grandmother didn't do anything. And then after it was done, she, you know, I guess she was like maybe came out the room or whatever, and she had her clothes on, or maybe her clothes were ripped or whatever, you know, whatever that scenario was. And she looked at the grandmother, and the grandmother just put her head down and just looked away, like kind of, you know, went off into the other room or went off somewhere, right? And so her coming over to my place just was not happening. Like, yo, like having a grandmother there, having a mom there, like, nah, like, yo, that wasn't enough for her. You feel me? Like, yo, she was raped and the guy's grandmother was there and like, yo, didn't do anything. So it's like, damn, like, yo, man, like, damn, you feel me? We talking about victims. We talking about real victims now. Right? And boom, now let's get to another one. So, this one is going to be familiar. And this one made me think about, it made me just think a lot. Right? And, so I'm going to tell it and then I'll speak on, you know, how it really affected me and changed me. Right. So, boom, messing with this girl. And I'm not really sure how me and any of these girls get on these conversations. I really don't know. But, we do. So, this girl, she's like maybe 6 or between 6 to 10, I guess. She's, out in the neighborhood. She's playing, right? Maybe they were playing hide and go seek. They're playing something. And, or she's out playing outside, and then one of the guys, he's a kid as well. He's a little kid as well, but he's older than her, right? He's older than her. So they're playing, and he, somehow, some way, she ends up in this house, right? She's in this house, and he gets her to the basement somehow, right? I'm not really sure why and how it all happened, but she gets to the basement, right? Now, she's like, she needs to go, she got to go home. He was like, nah, like, yo, we gotta do it. Now that's something I think that's like kid language. I remember as a kid, did y'all do it? And I would definitely like to track down that vernacular, right? Where did that phrase come from? And I'm sure, for kids, it came from some adult, right? And it's about maybe adults talking to adults with kids in the room, and they don't want them to know what they're talking about, so they just being vague. But that was the terminology. So I guess he was like, yo, he wanted to do it, right? But she was scared, and she's like I said, she's like between 6 to 10. So she starts crying, and he sexually assaults her. Now, when I heard this story, it sounded eerily similar to the first story that I told you guys. And I just remember feeling bad. Because I remember, so I heard it from her perspective. And I just remember when I heard it from his perspective and laughing, right? But when I heard it from her perspective, it just made me feel bad. It made me just like, damn, man. And I want to say that I even cried, on the phone with her. And I told her, like, yo, I heard this story before. And she was, trying to tell me, like, no, don't worry, because I was crying. And she was telling me, like, no, I don't think it was whoever, right? I don't think it was him, and la, la, la. And I'm like, yo, like, it was, right? Like, yo, that's what, because I heard, like, yo, this story, yo, I heard this story from the guy who's, who sexually assaulted you, who raped you. I mean, and it's kind of hard to use the word rape when you're talking about 6 and 10-year-old kids, right? Which I don't know if she was 6, but around that age, and it's hard to use that type of language. But it was definitely just not good, right? So, I'm like, man, like, yo, man, like, this is not good, right? This isn't, and just mainly from my reaction with the first time I heard it, right? Just from, you hear it from your homie, and it's like, yeah, right? It's just, look, it's just a story. But when you hear it from the victim's standpoint, and now you get to hear it from an emotional context, right? You get to hear it from a standpoint of look, this is not cool. This is not good. This shouldn't have happened. And you're trying to console someone, right, who this has happened to, and you can hear that this wasn't a good time, this wasn't fun for them. And it's like, man, right? So it just really just devastated me, right? So, and then another one, there was, I want to say, so a female, she was, maybe her parents like broke up, and then the mom was sick. So, the girl, she had to go over to her like uncles or her cousins, or just some older person house, and that the caregiver, the uncle or the cousin or whoever, he wasn't around a lot. He's working, he's doing whatever, but for some reason, I guess his friends were around, and she was hanging around. And see, man, this is like, yo, this is real victims, man. Because a girl, like, yo, they gonna hang around you, especially if they think you cool, you're older, you just seem like you're cool, right? They're not thinking of anything beyond that. So look, they still have a kid mind, right? A kid likes older people, like, because they feel protected, they feel safe, right? So they're gonna gravitate towards like older people because they feel safe, right? Like, I remember feeling like that. Remember, I was talking about Dante in my neighborhood. Like, yeah, if I got a chance to hang around Dante, you just felt safe. You just felt like, yo, these guys, yo, you just good. Like, in just my neighborhood, you didn't fear anybody coming into the neighborhood causing problems, right? Nah, these guys got it under control, right? You're good to go. So I'm sure that's how girls feel. And even as a teacher, you would get students, girls and boys, who gravitate towards you and who just like, yo, I want to be close to Mr. Miles, right? I want to be close to Mr. Miles, because, look, there's not going to be any trouble. No, I'm not going to get beat up, right? And this is for the guys. Like, yo, I'm not, I can say whatever I want to say. I can just dance and be silly. I can be nerdy. I can be whatever. And no, they're not going to beat me up. They're not going to tease me. And if they tease me and Mr. Miles hear it, then it's going to be some problems, right? So that's what you get. Now, these guys, she's hanging around, right? Only because she just looking at them as her protectors and just being cool and safe. And if her uncle, let's just say the uncle, right? Let's just, so we're not just saying, giving several titles. So if the uncle is cool with them, then they must be cool, right? Now, I guess it's getting late. She's still hanging around, right? She's still in that room. I don't believe that they went into her room, but wherever they were, right? She was there. And so it's like two guys, and then I guess one guy is trying to have sex with her. And I think, she's just, maybe she's afraid. Who knows what's going through her head? I can only imagine, right? But that first guy doesn't succeed. He was trying, but he didn't, right? But the second guy, he did, right? So she got raped, right? And it's just really, it's really sad. I really don't want to depress you guys, but hey, like I said, if I lose one of my listeners, I'm down to 5, or if I'm down to one. I only got one listener, and I got to start over again. I mean, that's fine, because I think that this is important. It's important to get these stories out, because the people who shared them with me, like, they shared them with me for a reason, right? This is some of the pain that they've been keeping in, and that they're not getting out. They're not getting this stuff out, and people aren't hearing. So people believe that this stuff is not happening, right? They don't think that this type of stuff happens. Or it's only, look, this is the type of stuff that you tell you this stuff to scare you, so you don't go down the street past 7 o'clock, right? But it's like, nah, like, this stuff is, like I said, like, yo, this stuff is real. And I'm not even sure what number we're on, right? So, boom, it happens. And I don't believe that, she didn't tell her uncle. She didn't tell her mom. I don't know if she told another boyfriend, but but she told me. And it's you hear these type of stories, you just get furious, like yo, man, they fucking animals out here, like, come on, man, like. And just like I said, from a kid's perspective, you just don't even think that this stuff is happening. Like, yo, this stuff never crosses your mind. It just doesn't. And like I said, I don't even know what story this is, but it still didn't cross my mind whenever I'm interacting with another girl, right? So let's hear another one. So this one is this happened, I think it was a girl. She was I think she told me when she was being groomed, right? So at like 6, she was being groomed for a long time. So maybe at 5, he would, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if he was like making her do oral at 5, but maybe he was like touching her or like wrestling. I don't know what he was doing, but it started young at 5. And maybe at like 8 but see, that's what I'm saying, because I think he didn't like have sex with her until she was 11. And this was a cousin. So this was like an older cousin. And I want to say like, yeah, so he started to actually have sex with her around 11 or 13, around that time. So, but see, that puts us really young on that oral. Like, that's kind of sad. It really, like, all of these are sad. So, yeah, this is no way around it. But it, I mean, even if we're saying like, yo, at 4, like, damn, dog, like, oh, shit. So, like I said, it started with touching, started with like, wrestling or hugging or rubbing or whatever. And then it was oral. So I'm not sure if oral was at 8 or at 6 or 8. And then actual penetration was around 11 to 13 or 11 to 14, right? And then once he's at that point, then he was raping her, or I guess, yeah, that's a term, we can use that. He was raping her. But like I said, I mean, she was groomed, so I believe in her mind she was thinking that something was wrong, but at the same time, didn't really see a problem with it, right? Because she was being groomed, so she really didn't understand it as being something wrong, right? But she knew that it was wrong, because it wasn't like, this is how it was happening with everybody, right? And I remember as a teacher, being told that one of the students had been assaulted by like her dad, and so you had to watch him, right? Because as kids, it's like the flu. Once a person gets exposed to this type of lifestyle, what they do is they try to pass it to somebody else, right? So I think they was like playing on the swings or in the jungle gym or whatever, those like where you crawling through the pipes like Super Mario Brothers. It's like those type of things. I'm not even sure what it's called, but she was up there, right? So she's up there. You can like barely see him, and then you got the boys. The boys are up there as well. And I want to say that the counselor came and was like, "Yo, you got to really watch because, la 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 blah blah blah." And it's like, man, like so. This is, I'm like a full adult. I got kids of my own. I'm working, and this comes up, and so you're still not thinking about it. Like you're really still like I've been exposed, to it so many times from so many people, so many different people, that you would think that it's like you're going to be thinking about it, but you don't. Because if it's not who you are, you're really not thinking about it. Like you're just not. So, so it's like, man. So this one, boom, she's groomed from a little tyke all the way up. And I want to say that played out eventually. Maybe she told a boyfriend, and the boyfriend, confronted the cousin, and somehow, some way, it was made. Oh, like the family knew about it. So somehow, some way, the family found out about this, and of course, it's gonna be a big thing. But I'm not sure if the guy did any time, or this is before people was doing time like that for this type of stuff, and being labeled like, yo, now you're a sex offender and you're a molester. Let's put the title on you. This is before this, right? So you wasn't getting those titles, right? Which I don't know because I wasn't aware. Like, so I don't know how they was handling it. Like a lot of this type of stuff was just swept under the rug. It just no one just ever talked about it. And we had like childhood myths. Like we had the bunny man, right? You had the bunny man. And I remember we used to beat up the homeless because we would say that they're the bunny man. They're the bunny. Like, yo, that's the bunny man. So we would go up around, this is Lake Clifton High School. It's in Baltimore, like East Baltimore. I think maybe the name got changed. The school could even got shut down, but when I was going there, that's the name of it, Lake Clifton. And it was around the park. And you just had like a long grassy park that you had to walk through, and then you could even walk through trees. And they had like a basketball court, and you had all types of stuff. And I remember one of the guys in our neighborhood, like one of the OGs, he was talking about how they killed a guy. They killed a guy up there. And I'm not even going to give any details because I'm really not trying to talk to the police about that. Like I'm just not. Like, that's just real talk. I really don't need any of the FBI coming up to me saying, yo, you know anything about the Lake Clifton murders? Like, nah, but you said on your podcast, like, yo, nah, but you even said on your podcast, nah, like, nah. So that's all we going, we going to leave it at that. But yeah, you're definitely one of the OGs. was reminiscing about his handiwork, and you just get that a lot. Like you get that a lot, like in the city. You get that a lot. So, like murder and death is just a part. It's just a part of the course. So we would go up there. We would go up to Lake Clifton and go around the parks and stuff, and we would just deem, like, if you just saw some homeless guy walking through the bushes or whatever, like, yo, that's the Bunny Man. So it's like, yo, let's go beat him up, right? And it's probably like 10 to 20 of us, and we either beating them up or chasing somebody. And that was the thing, right? So that's like the most. So it was like just a lot of urban legend around that type of stuff, right? So let's go and hop into one of the male stories. Here we got one of the homies, and I'm not really sure how this conversation even came about, but it was like, yo, I had some inappropriate stuff done to me. And it's like, damn, dog, like, yo, right? I mean, that's really, because when somebody tell you like, yo, I had something happened to me when I was young. The only thing you can do is just be like, yo, man, like, you feel me? Like, yo, you all right? Like, you can't even say you all right. You feel me? Because that person has to know that he's all right? Not from, yo, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No, it's like, I'm not going to even acknowledge that messed you up, right? Like, that's the thinking. So one of your homies tell you, yo, man, something happened to me. You gotta just be like, yo, man, it's cold out here, man. Like, yo, man, that ain't right. You feel me? So you can say it generally, yo, man, that ain't right. But you don't put them in a situation where they feel like, yo, I'm weak because this happened to me, right? I had one homie who used to always say something happened to him, in like a group home. So he used to always say like, yo, man, what if somebody on top of you, right? You wake up, somebody on top of you. Like, yo, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And it's just like, yo, damn, like, you fight? Like, yo, man, but he bigger than you, right? What you gonna do? And ultimately what he's saying is like, yo, man, you just gonna get your shit pushed in. Like, yo, man, that's just what it is. So, group home life and detention center life, like, yo, it's rough. Now this story, where the guy was like, yo, something happened to him. He's saying something happened to me. I'm like, yo, like, yeah, man, damn, yo, it's nothing you can do. You feel me? Like, yo, you just gotta keep moving, like, yo, don't even dwell. But somehow, some way, I mean, we got to him saying, and this is all you got, cause you just didn't pry into this. So what we got around to was, it was his dad. And you don't ask for details. You just don't. Like, so with the females, I didn't ask for details from them, but they just told me, right? So they told me the whole story from beginning to end. And with one of the homies, it was just like, yo, something happened. And, I think maybe he was, because my dad, he was definitely inappropriate. I mean, he was inappropriate, but I never really spoke about it, right? So inappropriate, not with me, and I never seen him be inappropriate with other people, but he would say stuff that was inappropriate. You know what I mean? So that was his thing. So like, I remember my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Harmon, and he would, say stuff like, like, yeah, I know you like Miss Harmon. You know, I'm like, I'm in the 4th grade. Like, no, I don't like Miss Harmon. Like, come on, man. You crazy? Like, it's like, yeah, you know, look at her big titties. Like, you know, this is what he's saying to a 4th grader, right? And I'm like, just shaking it off. Like, like, nah, man, I'm really not. But she definitely had some big ones. And I'm like, you're in the 4th grade, like they're gigantic, right? Now as an adult, I don't know. They could have just been D's, double D's. I don't know. Maybe G's. Right? I don't know. Just as a kid, you just not even thinking about that. Right? So he would say stuff like that. And he even, like I said, when he got pushed out of the schools, the girl said that he said something inappropriate to her. Right? And that's the thing. Like, yo, I mean, he would definitely say stuff like that. So I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Right? And some people be like, well, I mean, if he says something to you about your 4th grade teacher, maybe he said something to her about, you know, her breasts, right? So I don't know. Part of me just feels like, no, give him the benefit of the doubt. That was my dad. I'm a ride out. And could he have said something inappropriate? Yeah. But he didn't go to jail. But at the same time, we don't know how they was handling stuff back then. We just don't. Like, as me looking back on it now, I don't know how they was handling it, right? But it's not like he got charged and he was a offender, you know. So that did not happen. But he did have to step away from the school, right? So that I do know that happened. Far as what was said, I don't know, and I never asked her. I never even, like, you figure, like I said, I was maybe in the 1st or 2nd grade. She was in the 5th. And that's a huge gap. So by the time I get to middle school, I mean, you figure, so they leave at 5th. So 4 years, I'm in the 5th, right? 4 years for her. She's in high school. And then, so yeah, that's just a huge gap. I just never saw her again, right? So I don't know to even go to her, hey, yo, what happened? Which maybe I should, you know, track her down. Yo, man, what happened? Right? Now you're an adult. What happened? You know? You just never know, because some people are just so secretive. Like in the city, you just don't know, right? But that type of stuff happens, right? So we get a guy, right? One of the homies confide another homie. He was chilling with some of the older guys, some of the older homies, so this is like a common thing, right? When you're around 13, I would say, yeah, between 11 to 14. This is back in the 90s, right? I'm sure tactics are a little bit different now, but back in the 90s, the older guys, so if you're, like I said, you're around 11 to 14, the OGs, they like really OGs, they probably like in their 20s, right? Because the guys that's maybe 16, like around 14, they fighting, right? So 11, you're fighting. I would say it probably starts around 9, but y'all really start getting into gangs and all of that stuff heavy, like really putting in work. It's probably going to be around 11, 12, around that time. And then once you get about 14, that's when you really selling crack And you like, that's when you really in the life, right? 14, 15, 16, all the way up. And 18, it just depends. You might be in jail, you might be dead. Like, you know, you got some 18-year-olds that's hanging around, but for the most part, they're not, right? When you're 11. But you do have like people that's like 24, 25, 26. And what they do is they usually supply alcohol and porn, right? And like I said, this is the 90s, so it's not like we have the internet and it's just a sea of porn, right? You just, that's not the deal. So you really getting it from, you know, these guys, it's like 24 to 26. And it's usually like, you know, one or two that's around, right? So in this situation, now this is, we didn't hear, like, I didn't hear this from this guy's mouth, but other people in the neighborhood, this is what they heard and this is what they told me, right? So I didn't talk to him personally and get this story from him, but this is what everybody was saying, and this is the story that got back to me. So he's chilling with, you know, one of the guys is like 24 to 26, right? And they drinking and they got the porn on. So it's maybe him. At the time, I want to say we're all around like maybe 12, between 12 to 14, you know. So he's going to fall in that range as well because we're all about the same age. So he's around that age as well. So it's him and another 12 or 13-year-old. And they're over one of the guys that's like 24, 26. So, you know, they drinking, everybody drinking, they getting drunk. And then he falls asleep. He wakes up to one of them giving him head, right? And he didn't know what to do. So he just pretend like he was asleep. He just stayed asleep. And, you know, then he, once he got out of the situation, like, I don't know, you know, until when they just, like, I don't know. They just kept going like, yo, until he bust or what. I don't know. You feel me? Like I said, I didn't hear this from his mouth. This is what the streets reported back. So once he get back to the block, he let everybody know what happened. And, you know, we had to go ahead and handle that. So, you know, that's that. So it was taken care of right now. Mentally, I don't know. I don't know how he doing. You feel me? Like, yo, I don't know how much that, you know, affected him. Right? I don't know. I just know that once we heard what happened, like, yo, it was go time. You feel me? So, needless to say, like, yo, those guys, they got out of the neighborhood and you know, we didn't see them or hear from them again. So that was the deal on that. And let's see, now we get to another situation. So we're an hour and 22 minutes. This is going to be long. This is a little depressing. I'm not going to hold you. Like, it really is, but it's but these stories, they matter, right? And it's not that I'm trying to be like a white knight for girls, or, you know, like it's not about that. It's just saying like, yo, these are real victims, right? These are the George Floyds of sexual abuse, right? So let's see. Another one is you got a girl, and she's chilling with her girl, right? So she's chilling with her girl and her girl and her girl's boyfriend. So it's maybe three of them, And I want to say that more of the friends were around as well. So, they're chilling, they're outside, or no, they're not outside. But they're chilling outside eventually, and then they go in the house to chilling. So like they're just, being around each other. And the girl steps out, the girlfriend steps out, and all that's left is this girl and her friend's boyfriend. And her friend's boyfriend went to have sex with her, right? And so, I mean, I guess again, like, it's still sexual assault. I want to say that she, and I think this is like a reoccurring theme is a lot of people, when they get put in these situations, they really don't know what to do. Like they're not prepared for this type of stuff. So they don't know. And I remember I was messing with this one girl, and, let's say, because this story doesn't end with any with any sexual abuse, but so with that in mind, I can say what her name rhymed with. So her name rhymed with Baron, or Slaren, or Jaren. Let's go with Jaren, just because my brother, his son name is Baron, so I don't want to go with there. So let's go with Jaren. Okay. So her name rhymes with Jaren, or we could say Jern, right? Because Baltimore, they going, look, you gotta say certain things certain ways, right? So you gotta be boom, it's Jern. So her name rhymes with Jern. And so I'm messing with her, right? And it's it's just it's puppy love. This is like everything is new when love is all brand new. 'Cause you're learning me and I'm learning you. It's true. So her friend was over. I don't know if this was like Christmas. Like I can smell the air. It's that cold Baltimore air. It kind of smells like hot dogs. And for me, like, that's a good smell. For me, like, around Christmas time, it's just it's a beautiful smell. I can see it. I can see it and feel it right now. So I'm over Jern's, and I think we're over maybe her aunt. So we're over like somewhere. It's like her aunt and her friend is there, right? So it's Jern, me, and her friend. So I was picking up that her friend was feeling your boy. Like I definitely picked that up. And I was flirting with her. So I'm not going to lie there. I was flirting with her. And I want to say that she gave me like a Hershey kiss, like a chocolate. but she told Jern that she gave me a kiss. And Jern like, what? Like, and I want to say that I'm like, yo, it's like a Hershey kiss. It wasn't, but maybe just because like I have a real jokester type of personality, so I definitely could have like played it a little bit longer before I said like it was a Hershey kiss. So I could have like, yo, yeah, I got a kiss from her, right? So just because I know like my personality, like I'm gonna push things far, right? I don't know if it's too far, but definitely far. So eventually we get in the car, and I think we go to her house. So her dad takes the three of us to his house. He has his girlfriend at the time. And then I want to say that him and his girlfriend went out. They went somewhere, right? So me and Jern, we or maybe I want to say maybe when we were in the car, at some point maybe I touched her friend, like maybe touched her leg or I maybe touched her butt. At some point I did that, and it was all in, all in fun. It wasn't definitely wasn't trying to be creepy or anything like that. But I definitely touched her, right? Touched her butt or something. And she responded well. I mean, didn't make a big scene, smiled. And so that was that, right? But my point with that story is I think it's normal for if you're messing with a girl, especially like, you're young, you're a teenager, for when you mess with a girl, for her friend to also like you as well. I think that's normal. Like I even remember my cousin Al messing with a girl and I liked her, right? And it wasn't like I was trying to get with her. It's just like, we're all the same. So whatever girl you like, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to like that same type of girl. Especially if you're really like, that's your best friend. Like my cousin was my best friend. My cousin Al, he was my best friend, right? We was beyond best friends. We were cousins, right? So he had a best friend in school, and I had a best friend in school. But we were beyond best friends. We were brothers. We were cousins. We were family, right? So, but with that in mind, then that means that, we act alike and we sounded alike. If you talked to one of us on the phone, you didn't know who you were talking to, right? So we were similar. So whatever girl that he liked, 9 times out of 10, I liked her too. And whatever girl I liked, I'm sure he liked her too. But we never mixed, right? I never said like, yo, yeah, I like her. And he never said that he liked any of my girls, right? And my point is that it's common for a girl to like her friend's man, right? So in this situation, I think, her being around and get put in a situation, it's you don't know you just really don't know how to handle the situation, right? You just don't, like, wow, what do I do, right? And I'm not sure, maybe he had a little bit of intimidation with him, how he was approaching for sex. You just don't know, right? But one thing you do know is that we're not talking about this stuff, so you don't really know how to handle these situations, right? You just don't know. And what it ends up is that the girl is feeling like, why did I do that? Right? So now we're on that slippery slope where it's not like the grandma story where, she's like saying no, or the one where the girl's crying, right? But it's more of an intimidation type of thing, right? That's still victim. That's still victimizing. Again, it's a slippery slope because if we were to talk to the guy, he would probably sound just like me with Jern, right? With Jern and her friend, but only, I just touched Jern's friend's leg or touched her butt or something. He is like, yo, I mean, this is the same, but instead of touching her butt, like, yo, I had sex with her. Right? So that one, that's a slippery slope, but the girl comes out still feeling like, man, what did I do? Why did I do that? And still feels like something's wrong. Right? So, that's a slippery sloper, but I still see that as an assault. Right? That's still an assault. Like, yo, and it's like, yo, I mean, but she ain't say stop. So what do you want me to do? Right? So there's like, Yeah, but like, come on, dog. That's your girl. That's your girlfriend's friend, dog. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, don't even put them in that situation. Right? So that one, that's a tough one. That really is. That's a tough one. And the main thing is like, you know, be respectful of your girlfriend. Right? Be respectful of your girlfriend. But at the same time, like, yo, you don't. Like, yo, I can't tell you to be respectful of your girlfriend. Like, I can't. I can't. I just can't tell you that. I can't tell you that, dog. You know? I can't. So there we gotta leave that one up. We gotta toss that one up in the sky. But you know, hearing it from her perspective, she didn't want to do it. Right? She didn't want to do it, but I guess she really didn't know how to approach this situation. Like, yo, this wasn't talked about. Like, nobody spoke about this type of situation, that something like this could happen. So she really didn't know how to deal with it or how to process it. Right. And it affected her. So the best thing you can do is just let them know, yo, man, it wasn't your fault, and you didn't do anything wrong. Right. What happened, that could happen to anybody. Right. And yeah, you think, well, you know, some girls would have said no or stop. And, you know, people were out there. I mean, I could have said something. It's like, yo, don't beat yourself up over something like that. Like, don't beat yourself up. It happened. You just gotta be mindful next time and just be aware that something like this could happen. So if your girl got a boyfriend, he might like you too. And like, yo, when they together, like, yo, just like, don't be a third wheel with them. You just can't, you know, because guys are always thinking about, yo, I mean, this one might, yo, why have one girl when you can have two, right? I mean, that's the way some guys are. And I know some of you, I'm not like that. I just want one, and that's all it has to do. Like, yeah, man, I get it, man. Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Like, you never hear, like, yo, like a bunch of guys talking. You'll never hear that type of rhetoric when there's only guys around. You never hear that. So that's why I can't believe these white knight guys. I just can't, man. Cause like, yo, where y'all at when it's just the fellas though? Like, that's all I'm saying. Cause I be hearing a lot of crap, man. I hear a lot of shit guys be saying when a crowd is around, like when a girl, like when other girls are around, like, yo, they be saying some shit that you never hear when it's just guys around. You never hear this. Like, yo, where y'all at? Where y'all at, man? I'm not hearing y'all, man, at all. I don't hear y'all. Like, up until now, I didn't even know that was a thought in the male brain. Okay, so that's why I can't believe that. I can't believe that. So if that type of situation happened to you guys, it would be the same. Like, you know, don't beat yourself up over it. It could happen to anybody, and you know, we don't really talk about those type of situations, so you don't even know. You could find yourself in that type of situation and don't even know how you even found yourself in that situation. So it really could happen to anybody. I mean, even with Jern, like, yo, like, I mean, it's real crazy. I wasn't thinking like, yo, I could just I could have sex with her too tonight. I wasn't thinking that at all, right? But I did flirt with her, right? So that's, you know, like I said, that's a slippery slope. Okay. And then we have, let's see if there's any more. Of course. There's like family, right? We have more family stories. But I think we spent enough time on, we've covered quite a few stories. So now we gotta transition, right? So we have stories of people being real victims. Those are true victims, right? Now we gotta get to, I remember being in high school and like some girls, like, yo, they were messing with like, yo, like dudes is like 26, 24 and 26 year olds. These are 16, I would say probably like between 15 to 17 year olds, right? Messing with 26 year olds, 27, 24, 25, like 20-year-old guys, you know, guys in their 20s. This is black. Like right now, that type of stuff happens in the white community. Like white boys love young white girls. You 18, you got a 15-year-old girlfriend. You got a 14-year-old girlfriend. You 18, you got a 15-year-old girlfriend. You're 20, you got like a 16-year-old girlfriend or a 17-year-old girlfriend, right? This is pretty common. That's pretty common in the white community. And that is a stereotype. I can't really say it's a stereotype because I know it, right? Like I mean, you see it. This isn't like a stereotype, like like something you don't see, but yet you believe it. Like, no, this is stuff that I've seen with my own eyes, right? And my son, his white friends are like that. They got young girlfriends. So this isn't a stereotype. And I wonder what would be the term, because I'm sure it's not, this isn't, I don't know how common it is. I see it a lot, but just given the benefit of the doubt, maybe it's all isolated situations. But I believe that it's a general, right? So I wonder what that would be called. Maybe I'll look it up later. So this was going on when I was a kid, right? So I'm in high school and I'm seeing these girls and they got grown men boyfriends. Like I remember this girl in middle school. And that was like the rumor was, it's like, yo, she was with grown-ups. And I remember being intimidated, like, yo, I can't do nothing with her. She was with like a grown man. Like, yo, nah, I can't. Like, yo, I was afraid of her. Like, yo, man, she probably couldn't even feel a nigga. Like, that just shows you, like, yo, we ain't know nothing. We didn't know anything about girls. We were like pretending and saying that we knew, but we really didn't know. And just like, I know that I was afraid, right? I was afraid, and she liked me. She liked me too. I remember her saying, she was like, yeah, you messing with those little girls. You know, I see you over there messing with those little girls, but you need to mess with a big girl. And I was thinking like, nah, I can't mess with no big girls. Send the little girls over. I'm just a little boy and I need little girls. So yeah, I definitely remember being afraid and intimidated by her rep, which I don't know how accurate that was. This was projects. This was back when the projects were up. They knocked a lot of the projects. I want to say they knocked the high rises. They knocked them down. But like, yo, she was living in a high rise. I just know how I know how that stuff is now. So I can only imagine, like in the 90s, like, yo, it's just never a good time to be a poor girl. Like, it's just not. And people preying on you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're rich or whatever. Like, yo, somebody is always preying on you, right? So I can't imagine that. So you got girls out there that's going after these guys, right? These high school girls, they're going after these older guys, going after these guys in their 20s, right? And like now, they would be the victim. Like, so, all right, this girl, she's 15. She got a 24-year-old boyfriend. Like, yo, her dad find out, he's going to call the police, or if he doesn't try to kill him, right? He's called the cops. The cops going to arrest this guy. This guy, like I said, I don't know how they was treating it back in the 90s, but let's just bring them up to this day and age. So this, because we know what's going to happen. You're going to get that charge, right? You get the like sex offender, or I believe you would. I think you would have to register. So if you're 24, you mess with a 15-year-old girl, and like just me saying it, like, yo, that's like, dog, 24. Like, yo, I just think of one of my 24-year-old homies back when I was 24. I don't think I have any now. I don't know anybody that's 24. But Post Malone, he's 25. But I don't know anybody that's 24. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Some of the guys I worked with back in West Virginia, like, it was maybe two of them. One of them was like 25, and one of them was probably around 24. So yeah, like, yo, like them. But see, they look like, they just look young. Like, but just imagine, like, if I can just imagine them messing with like a 15-year-old girl, I'd be like, dog, what are you doing, man? Like, yo, what can you say, right? These girls are going after them. Like, yo, this is not a victim. Like, yo, he is not manipulating her. He's manipulating her with, no, man. We done spent 90 minutes talking about victims, okay? Those are real victims. This person who's going after these type of guys, let's say, all right, because he drives a Mercedes, or he drives a Benz, or he drives a Beamer, or, you know, he's going to buy all of this stuff, right? Look, she wants it. She wants the material things, and she's willing to compromise. And, you know, the argument will be, well, she doesn't really understand the ramifications of her actions. I agree with that. And this guy that's 24, he does understand. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get that. But is it still a victim and a predator? No. Nah, man. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same story as the girl who's crying, who's like, yo, I just want to go home. No. Just let me go. Nah. Versus somebody was like, yo, he's going to buy me all of this stuff. Only thing I got to do is have sex with him. Like, yo, that's not the same. Like, yo, is it wrong that we live in a society that puts so much emphasis on materialism and put so much emphasis on outward value, that this is what it's created? Yeah, that's wrong. Like, I agree with that. Like, that's a flaw in our system, that a person, male or female, has to look outward for their intrinsic value instead of looking inward to find value in themselves, to see the beauty in themselves. The beauty has to come without. It has to come from outside. and they have to stack on beauty. Like, yeah, I agree that is wrong, that's not right, and that our society shouldn't be like that. I agree. Yes, that is wrong. But it is what it is. So you got these, and I can't speak on every situation, right? I can't speak on every situation. But you got comedians like, so you got this comedian and they're calling them sleazy. And you get this all the time. It's always the celebrity and they call them sleazy, and they find all of these different celebrities that are, going to Epstein's building or his island. And they like, yo, he went there. They start naming off all these people. And it's like, come on, man. You guys honestly believe that everybody, all of these guys who went over there for that one reason? Like, no, man. I just can't believe that, man. I just can't. Like, some people, they just so ready to just throw people under the bus. So ready to just kill a person's character. Like, don't even care. And it goes back to what we were talking about with Al Qaeda or Al Qaeda. I think that's the way you pronounce it, Al Qaeda. And I still can't think of the other one. It begins with the A. I think it was first. I just can't think of it. It goes back to that, to the dehumanizing. I don't know if it's humanizing, but dehumanization. That doesn't sound right, but all in all, it's not seeing humans and not valuing human life. That's all that's happening now. We're not valuing human life. Right? So you grow up in this crazy environment and you see all of this death. And so now you look at life, you look at human life like you look at ant life. Like, yo, you see some ants, if they're a pest, you just get rid of them. If the ants are they're in your kitchen, they're crawling up on the kitchen counter, kill them all. You see where they're coming from, where they're coming into the house. Get a can of bug spray, just spray them all, just get rid of them. They're a pest, they're a nuisance, they're ruining your food, right? You see cattle, look, we got to eat, and we got to go ahead and kill this cow and cut them up, serve them up, and have some burgers, right? Grind them up. Let's get this food going. Let's get this food truck. So if we're looking at that's how you look at life when you come from an environment where death is happening all the time, where people are dying left and right, and it's like, man, we're just cattle. You look at life like that. If you watch these videos of murder, right? You start watching people get murdered. Like, you start to become desensitized to human life, and after a while, like, it'll do something to you. You don't even care about human life anymore. And that's why I like places like Chicago and Baltimore and New York and Philly and just all of, like, anywhere you have I'm not even sure. I don't know if it's like that even in like poor white areas. I mean, yeah, because they get killed too, right? They're getting killed. They're getting shot, and I mean, so it's like that's what's happening now with just writing off people, anybody who visited Epstein's island. Like, anybody, for whatever, it doesn't even matter why you went. You could have went because of a fundraiser. Maybe he was having a fundraiser. He's maybe attracting. So, like, if you're an entertainer, he's just trying to provide entertainment to this party, right? This could just be a legit party. There's no kids involved. It's just a legit party. right? Because maybe you groom in the next batch. You just can't just throw them in the fire. You got to get them used to the heat. So you started off, let's just start it off at 60 degrees. It's not even hot. And we get 61. Before you know it, it's 67. Then it's 72. Then it's 80. Right now, like, all right, boom. So it's a grooming process. We talked about one of the girls who got groomed. And we see that she didn't even feel like anything was wrong, right? Because she was being groomed since she was like 3. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. So every situation is not just in your face, right? But we're so quick to just judge and just, boom, take somebody down. We don't even care, right? We don't even care about their life. We don't care about their character. We don't care about any of that stuff. It's like, boom, cut his head off next, right? Just a desensitizing and not valuing human life. I can't think of dehumanizing. That could be it, but I don't know. And it's like, man, like, that's just bad. It is. It's just bad. It really is. And when we look at, because this stuff isn't going away. So like why is it there? Right? Is this just who we are as a people? I don't know. Part of me feels like, it is. Part of me feels like, this is humanity. One face of humanity is what we want it to be. The other face of humanity is what it is. And we have to look at what it is and not lose hope on what we want it to be. Right? So, all right, how can we change? How can we change these things? Like I said earlier with the school situation, it's like the plague. It's like Corona. You get one, but the only difference is that the person infected wants, so it's like a zombie, because the person that's infected wants to infect someone, right? The person this is, I'm sure not everyone, right? But some of them do. So some of the ones who get infected want to infect others. And I think that would even be a good characteristic in a zombie movie where you would see zombies. Some zombies don't attack. Not all, like, even if we're looking at, because the zombie is 100%. So 100% becomes a zombie. 100% wants to infect someone else, right? They want to eat the living, and those who they can't eat becomes affected. So I guess they don't even really want to infect. They want to just eat. But through their desire to eat, and those who get bit and make it becomes infected. So we was looking at it like a virus. The virus wants to spread. It's an internal thing, just like yeah. My throat is itching. That's why I'm clicking, scratching my throat from the inside. We're speaking about changes from the inside, or inside forces driving outside actions. So if we look at sex, it's an inside hormones that are activated, that are triggered, that drive our outside actions, right? And the whole idea is that, is from an inside level, we want to reproduce. We want to keep the species going, right? So we're looking at this virus that way. We're looking at Corona, right? Corona wants to keep producing. It wants to keep reproducing. So it wants to keep passing. Okay. get into this person, and this person passes it to the next person, and so forth and so forth. If it, a perfect virus would not kill any host, right? Because a dead host is a dead virus. So a perfect virus would be able to pass to every host, and eventually to every host get new hosts, right? That would be the perfect virus. So we're looking at this, and we're saying, okay, how we want things to be, and we definitely don't want sexual abuse and inappropriate behavior, far as making people feel like they're just a piece of meat or just on the conveyor belt, right? You don't even matter. It's your body, it's your flesh. Like, and if I gotta take it, I'm gonna take it. Like, no, we don't want that for our society. So I definitely went off on a tangent. I don't have any answers, but one thing that I do know is that every person is not a victim. Like, we talk for 90 minutes about victims, and there's so many more, right? There's so many more, but I can't look at someone who's looking at me and saying like, yo, I can get him to do this for me. If I do this for him, I can manipulate him with my body. Like, no, you're not a victim. Okay. Like, you're not. I don't care how old you are. Is it wrong that you even think like that? Yes. That is wrong. Okay. But once you get out there, you're out on the field. Like, come on, you're out there. You're playing a game, and that's really what we're saying. So these people, and like I, really just speaking to a comedian who's being persecuted, and I can't speak for every story, but for the few stories that I did hear, I feel like it's nothing wrong. Like, yo, he didn't do anything wrong. He's just being himself. Right? Oh, man, you should know. You should be able to look. Like, come on, man. I ain't trying to hear that, man. There's some girls out here that's like the LeBron of Victoria's Secret models, right? Like, yo, like LeBron's high school prom pictures. He's with his homies. Like, yo, he looked like a chaperone. He looked like somebody's uncle, right? He's all the same age as them. He's looking like an uncle. He's looking like Uncle Braun out there. Okay, everybody else looking like little kids. He's looking like a grown ass man. And there's some girls out there that's like that as well. And if they're mentally still a kid, then it's up to their parents. And I can't even put a lot of responsibility on the parents, but yet and still someone, even if it's not the parent, I mean, somebody has to prepare her, because the little boys, they can only prepare for so much, right? So you're 11, you looking like you 17. The 11-year-old boys, they're gonna be intimidated by you, right? Like, I can only imagine. Like I said, that girl who, it was rumors that she was messing with grown men. She probably wasn't. She probably looked older, right? She probably looked older, and that just intimidated us. But by her looking older, then that means that she's going to attract older men, right? Older boys. So we need a system. We need something there, some type of education there to let her know that this is what's going to happen because of biology, right? That doesn't make it right for the guys who are going to say stuff to her, right? She shouldn't have to hear that type of stuff, but she's going to hear it, right? She looks like a police officer, and the neighborhood needs cops. That's bad. I'm on my Terry Crews. Now that's a bad example. Okay, that's a bad analogy. Okay, but the point is, we just really have to. I mean, it's so easy to say we just have to do better, right? But there needs to be something. There needs to be a system. We need to have education, right? Which is just a YouTube video. Look, if you look like a grown lady, then grown men are gonna say these type of things to you. So, for guys, okay, what are the steps that you need to follow so that you know that you're being in bounds with your actions, right? I'm not telling you not to whistle. I'm not telling you not to call out obscenities. I'm not saying that. I'm saying before you do, look, make sure she's not 12. Okay. Yo, she don't look 12. Yeah, but let's just make sure. Okay. Something in the milk. There's something in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch that we need to check this stuff out. We need to just make sure. Let's just check it, make sure. Checks and balances. And then we good. So we're just gonna leave it there. It's 12 o'clock Eastern time. And we still gotta upload this stuff and figure that it can be changed on your phone. So I don't know why this is not syncing. We'll figure it out, so don't worry. We'll figure it out. So that's that. Any thoughts? Look, you guys run with it. You guys have any comments, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, Patzer. It'll be Patzer99. I believe. YouTube, it'll be Patzer99 as well, right? Yeah, so just Patzer. And I'll connect it to where this video, but you can hit me up on any of them. And then we got Facebook, the Artistry of Podcast. You can definitely leave a comment there. And I'll read out some of you guys' comments. I won't say your name, so don't worry. You'll still have the secrecy of the web. So yeah. So it's Patzer on YouTube. It's like Patzer99 on Twitter and Instagram. So hit me up there if you want to join in on this conversation. Leave some of your thoughts. I'm going to get a number so you guys can call in and leave a message, and we'll listen to it. We'll listen to the message and answer some of your questions or some of your concerns on the air. Okay. So that's coming. I already got it. I already have the number. It's a Google Voice number. So I just got to test it, call it, and see what's the process, and then I'll release the number and stuff like that. So definitely leave me a review on whatever you guys are listening to this on. That is greatly appreciated. And thanks. You guys have a good week, and we'll catch you next week, next Wednesday, Thursday-ish. So I started on Wednesday, but it doesn't get published until Thursday at 12. So that's it. Later, Gators, Reese's, PC.